بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم.
هذه الثكلى تنادي فهبوا يا بني قومي أسودا أعيدوا للدنا أمجاد عصر وفلوا بالحديد لنا القيودا.
Hello everyone, this is Colin once again. I'm making this video because I'm responding to Ahmed's Quran 3's newest video, which is entitled Abu Bakr, the Truthful. And essentially, the first part, I don't think he's getting to his direct argumentation. Now, I say that because in the first part, he's going to, I think, make this into a couple parts here. He's on a roll. He's making part A now, or he made part A. And in this one, he really doesn't prove his point. I think he's going to come back to it in part B. But in part A, he revisits the concept of the night journey. Now, the reason why is because it is in the context of the night journey, with which he essentially talks about how Abu Bakr received the title, the Truthful, or the Testifier to the Truth. And he reads from this book here, The Life of Muhammad, and translated by Guliam, translation of Ibn Ishaq's Sirah Rasulullah. And I've already discussed Ibn Ishaq's biography in other places. Please see some of my other videos with discussion and some of the videos I favorited about what is the nature of Ibn Ishaq's Sirah before, if you're curious, if you've never heard this biography before. Now, he reads the story, and he reads. He starts from page 182. And he describes it a little bit, but he jumps down. This is where it gets interesting, is on page down to page, at the bottom of page 182, it says, in his story, Al-Hasan said, the apostle Gabriel went their way until he arrived at the temple at Jerusalem. There he found Abraham, Moses, and Jesus among a company of the prophets. The apostle acted as the imam in prayer. Then he was brought 2 vessels, one containing wine and the other milk. The apostle took the milk and drank it, leaving the wine. Gabriel said, you have been rightly guided to the way of nature. So will your people be, Muhammad. Wine is forbidden to you. Then the apostle returned to Mecca, and in the morning he told the Quraysh what had happened. Most of them said, by God, this is plain absurdity. A caravan taking a month to go to Syria and a month to return, and can Muhammad do the return journey in one night? Many Muslims gave up their faith. Some went to Abu Bakr and said, what do you think of your friend now, Abu Bakr? He alleges that he went to Jerusalem last night and prayed there and came back to Mecca. He replied that they were lying about the apostle, but they said that he was in the mosque at that very moment telling the people about it. Abu Bakr said, if he says so, then it is true. And see, at some point in the video, Ahmed's Quran 3 makes a huge deal, and he loves to really take Abu Bakr out of context. He says, at this point, Abu Bakr is saying, well, you must be lying about the Prophet Muhammad because this is such a crazy story. But notice where Abu Bakr literally says, well, if he said it, I believe it. Okay, so notice how Abu Bakr believed the Prophet Muhammad. Even this is such an incredible statement. Once he found out that the Prophet was literally saying these things, then he knew it to be true. And he said, and what is surprising in that? He tells me that communications from God, from heaven to earth, come to him in an hour of a day or night, and I believe him. And that is more extraordinary than that which you boggle. He then went to the apostle and asked him if these reports were true, and when he said they were, he asked him to describe Jerusalem to him. Al-Hasan said that he was lifted up so he could see the apostle speaking as he told Abu Bakr what Jerusalem was like. Whenever he described a part of it, he said, that's true. I testify that you are the apostle of God, until he had completed the description. Then the apostle said, and you, Abu Bakr, are the Siddiq, in other words, the truthful. This was the occasion on which he got this honorific title. Now, what Ahmed's Quran 3 does is he jumps from that to another tradition found in Ibn Ishaq. The following report has reached me from Hani, Din Abu Talib, whose name was Hind, concerning the apostle's night journey. She said the apostle went on no night journey except while he was in my house. He slept the night in my house, and he prayed the final night prayer, and then he slept, and we slept. Okay, let me pause there for a second. I'm going to put in the description section the following links. One link is going to be to my video where I already refuted Ahmed's Quran 3 on the topic of the night journey, because I want you to pay attention to something. If you watch the video that video is a response to of his, he's a little deceiving person right here. He decides to actually not read the entire tradition. However, in this video, he reads further. Interesting. He picks and chooses when he wants people to actually hear the full tradition, but he doesn't even get to the full tradition. But we'll get to that in a moment. He then continues, at this point he does say, so who are we going to believe, Abu Bakr or the woman who was in the house that the Apostle of God was actually spending the night in, where this night journey apparently happened? So here Hani is saying, I don't recall him leaving anywhere, but let's continue. Then, a little before dawn, the Apostle woke us. And when we had prayed the dawn prayer, he said, "Oh, Hani, I prayed with you the last evening prayer in this valley, as you saw. Then I went to the Jerusalem and prayed there. Then I have just prayed the morning prayer with you, as you see." He got up to go, and I took hold of his robe and laid bare his belly as though it was a folded Egyptian garment. I said, "O prophet of God, don't you talk to the people about it, for they will give you the lie and insult you." He said, "By God, I certainly will tell them." Okay, so, and then the tradition continues with how the pagans react to the story. Now, I have to give Ahmed's Quran 3 some credit. He actually did read up to that point. Of course, he doesn't really offer his viewers any other explanation for the story, except that he, of course, likes to take Ibn Ishaq and the traditions found therein just at their face value. He treats that like it's the most authentic thing, and that it's the kryptonite for the Muslims. Of course, Muslims know their traditions better than Ahmed's Quran 3, and I would assert that the information about the night journey can be found in other places besides Ibn Ishaq that are more authentic. Now, I want to read a couple other biographies. This one is Muhammad, his life based on the earliest sources by Martin Lings, and this is based on the information from Ibn Hisham. And the only time that there are footnotes in his book, in his biography, is when something from Ibn Ishaq is brought up. Now, I want to pay attention to something here, everyone. The thing is that, the reason why he's making a fuss about this is because Hani says there was no night journey in the home. That she didn't see him leave and things like this. The prophet says, well, actually, I did leave, but you just didn't, you didn't see it and things like this. What does Ibn Hisham say about this? It says that Hani invited him to spend the night with them. He accepted the invitation, but after a brief sleep, he rose and went to the mosque, for he loved to visit the Kaaba during the night hours. While he was there, the desire to sleep came over him, and again he lay down in the Hijr. And as you can see, this correlates with the hadith that is mentioned in Ibn Ishaq and is mentioned in Sahih Bukhari and Sahih Muslim, where Gabriel basically wakes him up and things like this, or tries to wake him up on several different occasions. When he comes out of the sanctuary of the Kaaba, there is the steed that takes him to Jerusalem. So this would explain why, and some haters will bring up, that there's a contradiction about Gabriel trying to wake him up and things like this, and why is it that Hani said that she did not see him go and things like this. Another biography, The Prophet Muhammad, by Barnaby Rogerson, says basically the same exact thing. It says that Hani, daughter of Abu Talib, one evening after dinner they performed the night prayer together, and the widowed prophet accepted the invitation to stay the night. He could not sleep the evening, so he wandered into the sacred sanctuary around the Kaaba and settled down under the roofed shelter that stood in the northwest corner. And then it continues as with the other seerahs. So we can see that Ibn Hisham and these other biographies make it very clear that he simply left Hani's home, went to the Kaaba, fell asleep, and was woken up by the Archangel Gabriel, and thus the rest of the traditions go. Now, for those of you who are watching this and you're new to this whole concept, again, I will post a link in the description section to my video where I first refuted Ahmed's Quran 3 on the subject. Plus, I'm going to give you some additional links to back up the authenticity of the tradition, the authentic tradition of the night journey. Okay, so again, the problem with Ahmed's Quran 3 is he's only giving you part of the story. He's only saying that Hani said, I didn't see anything, so who are we supposed to believe? Makes a statement. Someone who was under the same roof as him or Abu Bakr. I think that's the point of his video here. But as I've said, you have to look at the whole story. She did believe him. She begged him not to tell them the story that she believed in. And as I'll show with links to Ibn Kathir, who reports all of the authentic traditions about the night journey, it's very clear that all the companions, all of the early Muslims, believed that this event did take place. Thank you everyone for watching. Peace be with you all.